Another thing that Rick kept the neighborhood hopping was the time that he got into the beehive and got stung all over his head with bee stings. And Rick and I favored the Putnam side of the family with the Native American heritage. We got really tan in the summer. So imagine Rick standing about this high, really dark skin, with all these little baking soda blobs all over his head from trying to get the bee stings out, whatever. Another story I have about Rick. Visualize this. We are up at my grandma's house in Hale. And remember back in the old days, they had the fly papers hanging above the kitchen table. That was always kind of disgusting. We were sitting down to eat dinner. Where's Rick? Well, Rick is out in the backyard. He found a some little white mice. He's trying to bring them into the house. My Uncle Leon, who was deathly afraid of mice, I thought he was going to have a heart attack right then and there. Rick had to put the mice back by the burn barrel, and then I think Uncle Leon made Rick wash his hands at least 20 times before he could even get up to the table. It's just one of those things. Kids, plug your ears on this one because I have another story about my lovely little brother. One day, I was sitting in the living room. My mom was visiting with our neighbor Peggy, and Rick came in the back door. And Mom said, well, what's wrong? And Rick said, nothing. And Mom said again, Rick, what is wrong? And Rick says, I think the field's on fire. So anyway, my mom and Peggy and I go running to the living room. The field is on fire, and we go running across the street with shovels and brooms, and we put the fire out. And I think his little rear end maybe was a little bit burned that day too from my mother giving him a spanking. Flash forward to 1967 when I joined the Navy. Rick was a junior, Dave was a senior. I think Mark was maybe third or fourth grade. And Mom is getting ready to go to a Boy Scout meeting for Mark. She comes out and Rick looks at her and he said, oh my God, Ma, that looks just like a maternity dress. And she says, it is. And Rick says, if you think that I'm going to watch that baby and change his diaper, you have another thing coming. Well, anyway, fast forward to August of 1967. I think my dad was in the VA hospital at the time. So Rick had to take my mom to the hospital. He backs out of the driveway and hit David's car. And Rick says, well, Mom, what am I going to do? And Mom said, we got to get to the hospital. So they pick up Eileen. They go to the hospital. And on the way there, Rick convinces Mom, do not name, if it's a boy, do not name him Timothy. You've got to name him something different. Name him Matthew or whatever. So anyway, so Rick took credit for Matthew getting the name Matthew. Fast forward a few years later, when Mark was in high school, Rick would give Mark, Rick would give Mark some money to run from our house to the gas station. And if Mark was back in time, he got to keep the change. So anyway, every time Mark ran there, got the pack of cigarettes, ran back. Mark's just a kid in high school. When Mark was state champion in track, Rick took the credit for that. Just some other things I wanted to say. Whether it was when Rick lived in Brant, whether it was playing Frisbee, he had a Frisbee golf course set up, or when he lived on Round Lake, going swimming there, whatever. Even when Mom and Douglas and I, just a few years ago, would go to Rick's house over in Keystone, and we would either play cards or we would bowl on the Wii. And Rick was Slick Rick on the Wii, and we laughed about that. But wherever we were with Rick, a lot of the time it was fun, and so that's what I said. Funeral has the word fun in it. A couple weeks ago, I was at my mom and I and Douglas were at my cousin's funeral up at South Branch, and his daughter had a reading, and she said one of the things they always looked at was their gypsy blood in that side of the family. And when she got done, I said to her, you know, we always said the same thing about Rick. You know, does he have gypsy blood? Because Rick has lived in so many different places. He has made so many friends over the years. And in closing, I just wanted to say in 2006, I called Rick on his birthday. He turned 56. And I called him to wish him a happy birthday, and he was all bummed out about that. And I said, Rick, what is the matter? And he said, 56 rounds to 60. And I said, Rick, I teach third grade, 55 rounds to 60. You've been rounding to 60 for a year now. And when Rick died, he was 64, so forever, Rick will round to 60. Thank you.